Alright, so I am going to attempt making some jigs today, slow pitch jigs. Talk about the stuff we have here, but the first thing I'm going to do, I have a lot of these old zincs off of the boat, and I'm going to try melting some zinc and using that to make these jigs. Zinc is not as heavy as lead. I think it's about 7 grams of lead to 11 grams of zinc equivalent, so they'll be a bit lighter. These are supposed to be 9-ounce and 7-ounce jigs, which is roughly a 200-gram jig and a 250-gram jig in lead, and I think by my calculations that 9-ounce, if I can make it out of zinc, will be about 150 grams. So got the hot pot 2 here heating up, and I got my torch here to help out. Zinc is about, I think, 150 degrees higher melting point than lead, so let's see what we can do here. Let's toss some old zinc in this bad boy, and let's get to work. Alright, well, already I can see this is not going to melt as easily as lead by any means. I think I'll let this sit here for a bit and come back in a little and see if we have any progress. Alright, so it's been about 10 minutes here in the hot pot, and it is starting to melt. So I'm gonna try to pick these little inserts out that came in the zincs. They're not gonna melt. Ooh. Definitely want to watch any water getting in there. That'll spatter up. You want your safety glasses on. I'm going to speed this process up. Alright, so here's what we're working with. I don't know. Seems like it'll pour. Scrape some of this contaminant off the top, I guess. Alright, that seems to have worked a little, maybe better than I was expecting. So I think that's definitely enough to do a 7-ounce jig pour. Again, that's probably going to be more like a 200 gram, and 200 gram would be lead. I think it's going to be more like 120 to 150 in the zinc. Here's what I got for that. It's the Do It Molds Flutter Jig kit. And you're gonna need these guys. These are the FL900 and FL700 wires to go through the jigs. So we're gonna be doing the 7-ounce, which is the FL700. So let's see. All right, what we're gonna do, open your mold. That's kind of what we're looking at for the jig there. And take your wire, place it in like so. Close that. I don't think this rubber band is really necessary, but I do it. And I have this setup here, just a brick and an old cooking pan, because we're going to preheat our mold. If your mold is cold, it's not going to flow well. And it also, if there's any water in it, you know, that could steam out and be kind of dangerous. I got just a thing of water here to put it in after to cool it down. And yeah, let's see what we do here. So I'm going to preheat this mold. I think it's the last time I did this with lead, I don't know if I quite preheated it enough. They turned out all right, but I'm going to heat it up a little more this time, I think. Okay, so I think that's pretty good and hot on the mold. I might heat the zinc up a little. I'm going to, and then we'll dump it and we'll see what we get. That's pouring pretty nice there. Okay. So I'm gonna let this cool a little bit, and then we'll crack this mold open and see what we get. Okay, so probably only cooled for about 30 seconds or so, but I think it's nice and solid. So let's split her open. That looks pretty good. So, let's see if I can bust her out here. Just grab that. Boom. It's our jig. We'll cut that little piece off. I'm gonna put this mold back there. Got our water here. Just gonna cool her down. This actually looks really good. This looks better than the lead one I made. I need my cutting pliers. Let me go get those. All right. So here's our pretty much finished jig. Doesn't feel like a 7-ounce jig. Let's see, I just have this dinky pair of diagonal cutters. I don't know if they're gonna do it, but they did. They did. This is wet, otherwise I'd throw it back in there. I'll let that dry a bit. So that's what we came up with. And I have a scale, only goes up to 120 grams for measuring things. So I don't know if this will go over that, but let's see. Well, it's over 120 grams. Like I said, I think it's probably 130 to 150 or so. So still useful. Yeah, the one thing I've noticed with this mold, and maybe someone has an idea on how to prevent this, but where the lead gets poured in, or the zinc in this case, leaves kind of a imperfection in it. I don't think it's really going to affect how the jig works or anything, but it does make it less pretty. Let's see if I can kind of sand her out a little here. A little bit nicer, still noticeable, but hey, I think these wires are like 30 cents a piece or something, and mold was maybe 60 bucks, and this old zinc, you know, you can get big old zincs at a boat yard, people changing them out, basically garbage to them. So yeah, I'm gonna make a couple more of these, and then we will move on to making them prettier. These zincs were on a boat for a while, and they have a good amount of kind of crustiness on them, so there's a lot of stuff I'm picking out of here, but I think we have enough to pour a big guy. So gonna set up a larger one here. See how it goes. Got the wire to go in. the larger mold. And my rubber band. It may be pointless. Maybe a pointless rubber band, but that's how I've been doing it. So heat our mold. And let's give her a pour here. The rest of this, I think I'm going to swap over to lead here. Pour the rest of this in my Coke can. Again, water, danger. And try to scrape out the rest of the junk in my guy here and get her all ready for some lead. And if you know a better way to clean these out, love to hear it. I'm going to unplug that guy. Done with that for a little. Move him off to the side. And looks solid. Big reveal. Ta-da! That looks good. I like it. I do like it. All right. Woo, she's hot. Hot stuff. So, maybe I can just, nope, can't just break it off. There we have it. So this is what would be a 9 ounce or around 250 grams if it was lead. In the zinc, I'm thinking this one is probably 150 or so, maybe 160. Still got this area that I'm not happy with, but a bit on the end here leaked out in the mold. Otherwise, nice. Alright, so these are our 2 jigs, and I am going to get a scale so I can see what these guys actually weigh. Then I'll probably make some lead ones, see what they weigh and how they turn out. I actually, based on the way the lead ones poured, I kind of like these zinc ones better. I don't know, it was my first time pouring anything lead, so it was outside, it's cold out, and maybe it was just curing too fast in the mold or whatever, so hopefully the lead ones turn out a little better. But it does seem like zinc can be poured into jigs or weights or whatever you want. They're just not going to be as heavy as lead. The zincs do get a lot of crap on them. They'd probably, number one, cutting them down into small pieces would really help with the melting. If you wanted to kind of grind some of this crap off of there, that would probably make it so, you know, you didn't have such a pile of stuff like that in there. But hey, overall, pretty happy with it. This material was, you know, free, so yeah. Alright, so we got our 2 zinc jigs made here, and now I am going to bust out a bunch of lead ones, or at least a few. So got my lead here. This guy's from last time. Pop him in. Get in there. Alright. Let that guy get hot. I got a couple. These are the lead ingots, 1 pound ingots I got from rotometals.com. Scrap. I think that's lead. Throw that in. This guy? Sure. Alright, we'll let that get hot. And pour out a couple more here. This is leftover zinc. Poured the rest of that zinc in here. Jeez, come on. Well, anyway, this is the leftover zinc here. Throw that back in the, oh, there it goes, in the zinc guy. And while we're letting this jig melt here, I'll show you. Last week I made 2 lead jigs, and they came out all right. You know, first time pouring lead. I gave one away, but I painted them myself, if you can't tell. But yeah, that's what we're working with, and they're actually glow in the dark. Let me see if I can show you that. Can you see that at all? Yeah. So they glow in the dark. They look better to me than they do on camera here, but anyway. That's what I made. And they look like a child made them. So I ordered these guys, which came in today. They're called Jigs Skinz, and it's basically like heat shrink for your lures. So I was thinking that might make them a little nicer looking, and we'll try some of those after I get these poured. So let's let this heat up, make some more, and we'll do some Jig Skins. So, if you couldn't tell, the lead melts much faster and comes apart much easier. Proving me wrong here, but last one I wiggled off with my thumbs. Alright, so this is kind of how the lead ones turn out, and like compared to the zinc, this is what I got the first time. They're like veiny kind of compared to the zinc, but definitely a lot more heft to them. I'm gonna clean this up and then we'll get into the jig skins. So 6 jigs we got here. Here's the jig skin, and it's basically shrink wrap that goes over these guys. So I forget what I bought. I think they sent me 2 extra. What do I have? Sand eel, mullet, foil. That's a cool one. And I like this, the squid, and then sent me some smaller ones. I got the big ones, but I guess these probably would have been sufficient, but they sent me a cigar minnow and a ballyhoo. So I do squid, sand eel, mullet, then ballyhoo, and cigar minnow, and then I don't know, another squid. Alright, so that's what we'll use out of those jig skins. And you basically cut them to size and then put them in your boiling water, which I don't think it's boiling yet. Going to mark these out and see what I think here, and then we'll boil them up. Alright, so they're supposed to only shrink in diameter and not length, so we're going to mark our lure, the skin from the lure, and then cut that part off. Alright. And then I guess I want it to be, if it's like that, the eyes will be on the side, which might be cool, but I think it'd be like that more traditionally, so we'll see how that works. I'm not sure how that's gonna work. Mark some more. instructions say a light boil. It's boiling pretty good here, so hopefully that's okay. I'm trying to get this thing positioned right here, and oh, it's heavy. Let's hope for the best here. Well, hey. So, a little off. Kind of slid up there, but overall not bad. And then there's some more, maybe. I don't know. Try to cut. Maybe cut this end off a little bit here. Looks pretty good. Next up, sand eel. Ooh, alright. That side looks good. Sure. Trim it up a little bit here. Alright, there's sand eel. So these smaller ones are just about perfect size for these smaller jigs. They do overlap a little bit, but I'm going to leave that overlap on there and trim it off when I'm done. Let's see if that works any better at getting full coverage on these guys. Now this one, I messed this one up. I messed it up. It's impatient. I messed this one up. Still looks kind of cool, but not totally right. Alright, pro tip, try to crease them. Ballyhoo, I think. Squid, big squid, final one.
one's way too big. I'm not gonna cut it and see what happens there. I'm just gonna drop it in. It passed a little, so maybe I don't have to trim it. This is the foil mullet. I saved this one for last because they're a little more expensive. That. I like that.
I think these jig skins came out pretty good. It's the squid, sand eel. I'm liking these. Foil mackerel, or I don't know, foil something. Another squid. This guy came out crooked, but still good. Ballyhoo. That guy looks pretty nice. And then for comparison, the one that Child painted last time. And then these are our zinc guys. I'm gonna paint them myself because the jig skins, they're not too expensive, but they're not free. You know, let's compare it to something like this. It's 350 gram, but I think this was about a $34 jig. You know, here's a 260 Daiwa Mr. Slow. And they're real pretty. They're very pretty. But, you know, they're $20 or $30 a piece. These guys here, 9-ounce jigs, about $3. You add a jig skin on, you're looking at $6. Getting this lead for about 27 cents an ounce. Wires are about 40 cents. Jig skins, almost $3 a piece. Then I got this, so we can see what they actually do weigh. So I believe this is the 9-ounce here. Lead is coming in at 256 grams. 7-ounce lead, 204 grams. So here's a 7-ounce in zinc, 7-ounce, 126 grams, and the 9-ounce zinc, 153 grams. So those are still useful. They say about a foot of depth per gram of jig. So a 100-gram jig should do 100 feet of water. In my experience, I'm normally in around 100 feet of water when we've been slow pitching, and I'm normally using a 200-gram jig, so I'd kind of double that, but I'm not super experienced in it, and yeah, depends on the current, depends on the wind, your drift.
We can rig one up here. Got my rigging kit. So, to rig one of these guys up, we're going to take a split ring plier, open that up, put her on, put her on, put her on. Alright, that took a lot longer than it should have. And then get you some assist hooks here. So I think those would go good on there. Alright, there you go. If you like, you can put a ball bearing swivel on there. I think I've generally just been tying straight to the hook, but I think I've seen some people rigging them with a ball bearing swivel, and I think I'm going to try that next time. So that's it. That's making jigs. Like I said, jig skins, these guys are running me about $6 a pop. These guys here, 20, 30. And you know, most of these jigs don't have any teeth marks on them. And that is because I lose a lot of jigs. So $6 jig, well, plus the assist hooks, but some of these don't even come with assist hooks. This one, I don't believe this one came with assist hooks. You know, it's super pretty. Haven't fished it yet, but it's 35 bucks. So excited to try these. It's really freaking cold right now. End of January. So hopefully in 2 months or so, I can get out there and, you know, test some of these guys, and I think they'll work just fine. So thanks for watching. See you later.